Data handling, go.
AOCS.
AOCS, go.
Platform.
Platform, go.
Flight dynamics.
Flight dynamics, go.
Project rep.
Project rep, go.
Project support.
Project support, go.
Softcode.
Softcode, go.
Software support.
Software support, go.
S-track.
Extra, go.
Scheduling.
Scheduling, go.
Thanks. This completes the roll call for the JUICE mission. We are go for launch.
And you'll be hearing every milestone being called out by the DDO. He is the Range Operations Manager, and his role is in an... Oh, we'll wait for the 1 minute mark. Raphael.
À tous de DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute. Top H0 moins 1 minute.
Right, so from here on, no more commentary from us. Don't be surprised if it doesn't take off immediately, because of course there are those 7 seconds, Raphael.
Exactly, so just enjoy the launch.
During which the Vulcan engines are set on, and then the launcher takes off.
Go Ariane 5.
Go Ariane 5. Enjoy.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage EAP, décollage. La propulsion est nominale. La propulsion est nominale.
And there we go. We've seen the Ariane 5 liftoff, roaring through the tropical sky, carrying JUICE on the first leg of her journey into space. And now she has disappeared under the crowd. And see there, in Kourou, there are many places from which to watch these launches. As you can see, the beach, any place. And here we have a glimpse again of the rocket. Raphael, it's an amazing sensation for you as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, even with the clouds, it's just...
La trajectoire est nominale, tous les paramètres bord sont nominaux.
It's really, really always impressive, and it's an emotion to see it. So the DDO said that the trajectory is nominal, which means that it's working perfectly, it's going as planned.
La propulsion est nominale, le pilotage est calme.
And in fact, just to sum up what the DDO does in 3 words, his responsibility, he's the person who calls out every milestone along the way, and he's in charge of providing information on propulsion, guidance, and trajectory.
Exactly, he's like an orchestra conductor, gathering all the information and summarizing it in real time, and soon we'll have booster separation.
We're waiting for confirmation from the DDO.
Séparation des EAP.
So the boosters have been safely separated. This is great. They have provided 90% of the overall thrust of the flight, so they're doing the main job. And then soon we'll have the separation of the fairing. And by the way, you see a special drawing on the fairing right here. Children around the world were asked to submit artwork
La trajectoire est nominale.
Inspired by JUICE's epic journey, and on this fairing we see one child's interpretation of Jupiter embracing our spacecraft. Everything is nominal.
Tous les paramètres bord sont nominaux.
All parameters are going smoothly.
And there we have it. We've seen it in in our 3D
Séparation coiffe
animation,
confirmée.
and we've just heard it from the DDO.
Confirmed. So the fairing was used to protect the satellite from the friction of the air, but also from the noise generated during the ascent phase. We obviously need to safely separate the fairing, otherwise we would not be able to release juice into space.
La propulsion est nominale.
It also means that we have crossed the limit of the atmosphere. So juice is on its way to be separated in about 24 minutes from now. So by the way, we will have so the separation of the cryogenic stage when it has placed the launcher on an intermediate orbit. After this, I can mention that during, and we can actually see it on the motion design, because this is 3D animations here, that during the ascent phase, the launcher is set in what we call a barbecue mode. So it's slightly rotating on itself at a speed of 0.7 degrees per
Le
second.
pilotage est calme, la propulsion est nominale.
So we do this so that every face of the satellite is equally exposed to the sunlight. We just want to avoid overheating in one particular side of the spacecraft, which could damage the instruments. And as a matter of fact, when the upper stage is going to be injected on the targeted orbit, it will also rotate at a speed of 0.5 degrees in one direction, and then at the same speed in the other direction. Again, to avoid overheating on one part of the spacecraft, exactly like, a barbecue.
Exactly. And of course, there are the onboard computers. What are they measuring right now, Raphael?
Well, they optimize the
La
trajectory
propulsion est nominale, le pilotage est calme.
Everything is nominal, so they optimize the trajectory in real time. They minimize the propellant consumptions to bring the launcher to the intermediate orbit, targeted at the end of the main stage propulsion phase. And as a matter of fact, we are accelerating a lot right now. So within the next 3 to 4 minutes, we go from 3.5 kilometers per second to more than 7 kilometers per second.
So how much is that per hour? Because you're the engineer.
25,000 kilometers per hour. And ultimately, juice will be separated at a
La
speed of
trajectoire est nominale, le pilotage est calme.
almost 10 kilometers per second. And it will be separated at an altitude of 1,533 kilometers.
Very precise. Okay. So the next milestone we are now waiting for, and we'll be hearing this again from the DDO, is the acquisition by our downrange station of Natal. That is located in the on an island in the middle of the Atlantic. I'll just wait and hear that from the DDO. He may not have confirmed it orally, but by now it is.
Just to explain, all along the route eastwards, Ariane is tracked from the ground. So the launcher's functions and vital signs are recorded and sent back to a network of stations that keeps constant watch on the health of the launcher
Acquisition
systems.
par la station télémesure de Natal.
And we have
We have it.
the
And of course,
confirmation that the first
apologies, of course, I did not mean Ascension. I meant Natal, over the border in Brazil, of course. That's the second downwind station.
And just so you know, in all, that's about 1,500 parameters that is collected.
Collected, my goodness. So that there's no way these
La trajectoire est
1,500
nominale, tous les paramètres bord
parameters
sont
can be
normaux.
analyzed in real time, Raphael. What happens to them?
Well, the complete analysis is carried out in the weeks following the launch by a dedicated team. They provide a wealth of information about how the vehicle performed during its mission. And so this is why we constantly, improve our knowledge of a launcher, launch after launch. And then that's why Ariane 5 is such a reliable launcher.
And so you were talking about the stations, and it's a little bit, you were saying to me earlier when we were chatting, it's like a relay
Trajectoire
race,
nominale,
these
tous les
stations, isn't
paramètres
it?
bord sont
These
nominaux.
downrange.
Yeah.
You were listening to the DDO. What did he say? I didn't hear him.
He said that all the parameters are working perfectly.
Nominal, that's what we
so
like to
the
hear.
flight is perfectly smooth. So yeah, this is like a relay race with one telemetry station passing the baton to the next one. because we want to keep full visibility of the launcher in all dynamic phases of the flight. So the first stations to pick up the data was Galileo, right here in Peru, followed by Natal in Brazil, then the island of Ascension in the middle of the Atlantic, and followed by Libreville in Gabon, and finally Malindi in Kenya.
As the launcher crosses
Trajectoire
Africa.
nominale, tous paramètres nominaux.
So we'll have 3 different, very short sequences right now.
Coming up,
The cutoff of the main stage,
we should hear
then
that.
the jettison of the main stage, and then the ignition of the upper stage. So it should be confirmed.
Extinction Vulcain. Séparation APC.
And the ignition coming up.
Yep. Waiting for-
Allumage ESC confirmé.
That's a very good news. That's a very important
You should see the
step
smile on
towards the
Raphael's
start.
face. You can't because we're in our little booth. Because we forgot to mention that we are now in the sky booth, where we have a fantastic view over Jupiter, where we can see the crowds gathered. And yes, and so you cannot see the smile on Raphael's face, but he is delighted that this stage has gone perfectly.
Yeah, the ignition of upper stage is absolutely key, because it's always quite a little bit tricky to ignite a liquid stage in the emptiness of stage, of space.
La
Like
manœuvre
in
d'orientation au
end
profit de
of
Juice
May,
se
Juice will perform
poursuit de
what
manière
we call a
nominale.
trajectory correction maneuver. And so the better the injection precision, the less important the maneuver is going to be, meaning that Juice will be able to save its precious fuel for the rest of the mission.
And Raphael, we are 30 seconds away from separation. What are we going to see exactly? And then we'll stop the commentary and wait for the moment. In a
Well,
nutshell,
let me remind you that this is 3D animation here, but the teams are receiving signals and information in real time, and it is them who will confirm the separation of Juice on its liberation orbit. They will provide all necessary information to either teams so that they can acquire the spacecraft.
let's wait for confirmation from the DDO.
Séparation Juice confirmée.
And this has been confirmed that the spacecraft is safely separated on its targeted orbit. And you can see on the images the relief from the teams.
This is years and years of work on the part of these teams.
Decades of works for some teams.
Yes. And it is so good to see such joy on their faces.
No, but
Of
look at
course,
this.
a reminder that this is the very, very first leg of Juice's journey.
You can see the emotions on the faces. That's really what makes space activities so special. It's like a reboost each time we launch a satellite. And what a satellite right now. Honestly, I can only wish good luck to Juice and all the teams for this incredible journey through the outer solar system. That's absolutely amazing what we are living right now.
The atmosphere here in Jupiter is effervescent. There is a true sense of joy and happiness. But as I was saying, of course, this is the very beginning of the journey, and we will be letting, of course, the teams in Darmstadt take over shortly, because they are the ones who are going to be confirming acquisition of signals, first signs of life from our passenger. You were going to say, Raphael?
No, I was saying to say, yeah, this is the beginning of the journey for Juice. For the launcher, we may perform what we call a passivation of the upper stage, meaning that the remaining propellant of the tanks is expelled in order to prevent any risk of explosion in space. This is a requirement for a sustainable use of space. And we also perform a very small disposal maneuver in order to remove the upper stage from any operational orbit, giving an extra
Mountain in the middle. Yeah, so this is the frequency band the ground station is listening to, so it's pointed at Juice, where Juice is supposed to be, and the communication system on the spacecraft was already started, so it's already transmitting data. But here we wait for the spacecraft actually to come over the horizon, so to arrive to be seen from the ground station.
So we've got have we got a small window where we can see this, or how big's the window where we can actually see this acquisition
Well,
signal?
this time would be actually now, but it could be delayed up to 40 minutes. So really depends how the spacecraft is moving. If it's a little bit tumbling, the spacecraft will first do an acquisition, and stabilize the attitude.
Okay, right. We're just coming up to this acquisition window, so I'm going to go over to Bruno in the control room and see if we can see what's happening.
We just have to be patient. The signal is not there yet. At any moment now, it will appear. Actually, I will not bother you describing it too much. Just stay with me and watch that signal until it pops up with the signal of our spacecraft.
ODOM.
OMOD.
Quick brief from New Norcia. They see the downlink signal from Ariane.
Copy.
So it's about seconds or minutes that we will see JUICE.
Copy that. Just stand by. No signal yet.
La dernière manœuvre d'orientation de l'étage supérieur se poursuit de manière nominale.
give me a go. We still don't have acquisition of signal at this point. This satellite, as you might have heard already, has been separated from the launcher, from Ariane 5. As it separates, there's always a certain rotation, a tumbling effect. The satellite needs to first prime the thrusters. That means it needs to make all the pipes open such that the fuel and the oxidizer can flow through it. At this point, it can use the thrusters for control, and then it will try to find its own orientation in space, and at that point, it will switch on the transmitter and start transmitting. So there's always a certain uncertainty about the time when we'll actually receive the signal. We have to be patient, we have to keep looking, and I'm sure it will wake up quite soon.
Hours from AOS right the way through to what we call LOS, loss of signal. So we'll track up into the sky up to about 50 degrees, and then while we're doing that, JUICE is moving away from the planet, and the planet's rotating underneath JUICE. So it'll actually come up, and rather than going over the other side like a normal satellite that's in Earth's orbit would do, it'll actually go up and then come back down as the spacecraft moves away and as the Earth rotates underneath. So we'll see, if you're still watching in 7 hours, which I'm sure you won't, we'll see the antenna set again, pretty much back where we came from.
Yes, Susie, I've got some great news for you. We have acquisition of signal, so I'm going to go over to Bruno in the main control room. This is super ace news.
Wow, wow. What can I say? These are the words that every spacecraft operations engineer wants to hear. And Andrea Comazzo just said them to us. He said, we have acquisition of signal, the spacecraft is transmitting telemetry, it's flowing into our systems. Everybody's super excited, super happy. Well, it's a lot of work from now onwards, and we have to keep on going. So we'll keep reporting back how we're doing. First of all, we've reached a fantastic milestone. The spacecraft is alive. You start seeing Mount Everest popping up there in the plot right now. The telemetry is flowing and nominal. We will now start checking every subsystem to make sure that everything is healthy after this crazy ride into space. And then we'll report back to tell you how we're doing.
Getting there, Jupiter. Get ready for it.
I hope you just heard Andrea Comazzo announcing on the briefing loop that Europe has a mission. We are on our way to Jupiter. We have power. Both solar arrays are fully deployed. The satellite is fully functioning. After a little scare, coming late to talk to us, the satellite is finally there. And what a beauty, what a beauty. What a great satellite, what a great mission. Congratulations to everybody involved. Congratulations to the rocket, to the teams on the ground, to the teams here at ESOC that are now taking control. I will hand it back to you, Matt. There is not much to say. We have a fantastic mission ongoing. And what a pleasure it has been to share this moment with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Space Google Visser YouTube channel.